I'm back. Give me 1 second. All right, great, cool. That was very hurried of me to to do that, but I got those posts out and ready, which is good. Um, but this stream's gonna be a little bit different than last stream, just a little bit, just a touch. Uh, and that is because of two things. First, I actually have something to talk about that's really interesting. Critical support for Hungary, believe it or not. And then the other thing is starting on the debate review content that I wanted to do a lot more of this year, that I did some of last year, but I find quite fun because I like debate and I like uh, politics and whatnot. But sometimes I feel like I'm not quite as well prepared as many others to be a participant in the debate. Rather, it's nice to be able to sit there after the fact, have quite a bit more leeway with how I engage with the arguments. Yo, what's up, 1v3? Welcome back to the stream. Um, Let me try to find a worldwide room, and then I can start. I want to start with that Hungary bit that you linked in the Discord. That's really interesting. It gives me some leeway to talk about, well, interesting stuff. And then I'm gonna get into the got the messages when you're live fixed. Ah, okay, I see. Um, nice. And then I will get to that debate panel where Blair White just got ganged up on by her fellow conservatives. And I have some things to say about that as well. Normally, a lot of this stuff, like, I don't want to just do news coverage. I want to do more, like, analysis stuff. Because I think that's really interesting. And like, politics is a learning experience as much as anything. And, it doesn't just begin and end with like what's posted on a Reuters article or like on the campaign trail, whatever. Uh, yeah. Here, let's. Oh, good. This is a short Reuters article. That's actually perfect for playing Mario Kart and covering this. Once I pick track, well, I can start talking about that. Please wait a moment. Yeah, okay. We got a small cadre of folks here. Anyways, Reuters time. Okay. So normally I'm very critical of Hungary, as are a lot of people who are of some sort of liberal or left-leaning conviction, and even some conservatives, believe it or not, people who believe in democracy generally don't like Hungary. But governments are not necessarily a monolith. There are a lot of things that they do, some of which are good, many of which are bad. And Hungary did a rare good thing, which is they decided to go after companies that do what is it, shrinkflation. So if anybody's not entirely familiar, shrinkflation is the practice of either keeping prices the same or increasing them while decreasing the amount of product that you are selling. For example, if I went to the store to buy a bag of chips or a candy bar, they would be smaller this year than they were last year, but cost the same amount of money. Or potentially they would cost more money and also be smaller. Um, it's the phenomenon that people meme about where bags of chips are like half filled with air. It didn't used to be like that, but in an effort to try to get more profit, companies will like sell you less of the thing that they're selling for the same amount of money or for more money or whatever. You know, it's all about the Benjamins, really. And it's generally viewed as actually pretty dishonest. It's one of the few things where people will look at that and, you know, and maybe not identify it as like a capitalism thing, but be like, yeah, that's bad. That like companies shouldn't be allowed to do that. And I guess after this race, I can take a look, but it seems like Hungary has decided to pursue certain avenues of policymaking that would enable them to actually address this problem. Like I said, I will talk about it in a minute. And I do have something to say about the larger trends that is a part of as well. Including a new favorite thing of mine that I've begun to actually notice everywhere. And it looks like I'm going to get second, which is fine by me. Alright, cool. So, from Budapest, on January 8th, so a couple days ago actually, Hungary's government will require large food retailers from March onwards to display price warnings on products that have shrunk in size, the economy ministry said on Monday. Yeah, and in fact, one of the big things that enables companies to get away with shrinkflation is that they don't tell you when they shrink their products. In fact, one of the things that makes shrinkflation work is that from one year to the next, they shrink it just a little bit, so it's hard to notice unless you literally put the two side by side and like look at them. You know, it would be hard to tell at a glance that shrinkflation is happening. You'd have to look at it over a longer term. But this comes in the face of an inflation rate in Hungary that peaked at 25% in the first quarter of last year, the highest in the EU, and is struggling to revive its economy as consumers' purchasing power has declined. Yeah, I'm sure this is attributable to other policies of deregulation that Orban's government has definitely pursued, but you know, the shrinkflation stuff, you know, that's a different story. Data published on Monday showed retail sales rising by 0.8% from the previous month, although they were still down by an annual 8.7% in the first 11 months as consumption fell. I wouldn't put too much stock in that 0.8% increase in consumption. You know, that doesn't seem terribly statistically significant, especially if it's just a 1 month change. You know, one data point does not make a trend, especially one that small. Keep racing here. I don't know if I'm gonna have an opportunity to look at that more until, you know, maybe till the race is done. Like I said, it is a short article, so. My brothers have been getting quite unhealthy because everything is getting too expensive for him to buy on his own, starting to get him somewhat depressed. And in a tough position. Position made by the brother to shrinkflation, greedflation. Ah, but you see, that's the thing. What you refer to as greedflation, in fact, what pundits will call greedflation, that is just inflation. You know, a lot of people kind of fail to understand what makes inflation happen. Inflation, it basically, like, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy in some ways. That happens when prices rise. Inflation does not result in the rising of prices. Inflation results from the rising of prices. Companies just raise their prices on a whim. This has been shown to happen at several points. In fact, in the United States, companies will frequently brag that they have like profits that are literally as big as they've ever been, but then at the same time say, oh, but we need to raise our prices still, you know, and that is how inflation works. Greedflation is your word of the year. Very interesting. Yeah, just, you know, for the uninitiated, like, companies will decide, oh, you know, now might be a good time for us to raise our prices because of, I don't know, there are a number of social factors that dictate whether or not such a thing would be acceptable. And then enough companies decide to do this at the same time that it constitutes a wholesale rising of prices industry-wide or economy-wide. That is inflation. Inflation happens because of the raise in prices, not it is not causative of that. It's like the relationship that people think exists between prices and inflation is actually the other way around. But anyways, let's return quickly to this article. Orbán's government is looking to revive the economy, which eked out its first quarterly growth in a year in the third quarter, with local government and European Parliament elections on the horizon. Let's see. They've started paying attention to shrinkflation, which is bad. Everybody agrees on this. Only in effect for 2 months, huh? And the proposed rule or the rule that is about to go into effect would state that like companies of a certain size will have to post warnings on products that have shrunk in size from the previous year, which is good. But again, I think, you know, as is the case with a lot of rulemaking and policymaking in liberal democracies, or in Hungary's case, just like a weirdo neoliberal dictatorship, this doesn't go far enough. Like, if you actually want to get at the heart of this issue, there are other things that you can and should do. Although, obviously, is it 100cc? Obviously, this is better than nothing. Oh, yeah, wow. I didn't notice that this is 100. Huh. Golden mushroom. I wonder. I kind of want to use this to try the lake jump shortcut on 100cc. I wonder if I could make it with a golden mushroom. Definitely worth a shot, I think. Anyways. No, it's not enough. Okay. So there was some somewhat related things that I wanted to say about inflation and shrinkflation and whatnot, particularly shrinkflation, which is that this is an example of the tendency of the rate of profit to fall, right? It basically, that's a fancy way of saying that when companies aren't confident in their ability to maintain a certain level of profitability over the long term, they'll start cutting corners. And I mean, like, crazy, they'll start cutting corners, you know? And this is one of the ways that they do that. They have to start looking for ever more marginal ways to cut these corners. And one of them is just simply to sell less of the thing that they're selling, if that makes sense. There we go. There are a lot of other ways that they can pursue this as well, but yeah. Hey, a BBB, big brain banana, Dutch farmer in your lobby. True! Many such cases. Let's see. Food makers, importers, and suppliers will also be required to notify retailers of any size reductions. Okay. Yeah. So this is good. It's a good start. It's a good start, is what it is. It's like, hey, you have to tell retailers and consumers about the stuff getting smaller, which makes sense. Although we believe that households will initially focus on deleveraging and rebuilding their reserves, consumption could also start to grow. However, for this change to be significant and lasting, consumer confidence must first be restored, which is a more protracted process. Okay, so they're acknowledging that this is just part of a much longer term project, which is going to have to happen for an economy to be revitalized. You know, that stuff doesn't happen overnight. Although economies can be destroyed overnight, they can't be revitalized overnight. Ah, Royal Rainbow. It's mirror mode. Huh. It always I'll say this. It always bugs me that in the United States there are three things that constitute like pretend politics, right? Like there are people who are actually interested in politics, and then there are people that don't actually understand politics, but they engage with it the way you would with a team sport, and they can conceptualize three kinds of points on the scoreboard. One of them is gas prices, one of them is inflation, and one of them is like what else? General consumer prices. There's another third one that I'm kind of uh, forgetting. Maybe job growth, something like that, right? But the key thing is, you know, with most people, even people who are very embedded in politics, they don't exactly understand how this stuff works. You can ask an economist, and they will know how it works, more or less. Um, but inflation is the big one, and it always bugs me that people, for some reason, like the notion gets instilled in like I don't know elementary school or high school or wherever that inflation happens when you print too much money. No, that is not what happens. In fact, because especially nowadays when money isn't like the printed thing, um, you know, that's just not how it works. That's not consistent with the kind of money that we use. Inflation is what happens when companies all raise their prices at roughly the same time. It's essentially it's a never-ending cascade effect of companies all trying to get bigger and bigger profits by raising their prices one after the other or at the same time, whatever the case may be. They are not struggling with this money, and this is not a result of inflation, as they would say. It is in fact the cause of inflation. You know, a lot of times they'll say that because it's not exactly a great marketing strategy to ingratiate yourself with the public to just say, yeah, we raised our prices because we felt like it, you know, because that is what's happening. But like they would like they would incur a massive shitstorm if they just came out and said that. So they kind of have to put up the plausible deniability. It's like, oh, you see, we're only raising our prices because of inflation, wink wink. And then every other company does the same, and you know, bada bing, bada boom, the raising prices is the inflation. It's not because of inflation. There we go. But I feel like I've belabored the point of inflation long enough, and I've got a nice custom track race going on here. And then after this, I might want to move on to the debate panel thing with the conservatives and with Blair White and all that. Ow. Please give me mushroom. Thank you. I went for the wide box because I wasn't confident. No, I was like, I think I know where I want to use that mega, and then it just got shocked out of me. Ah, lame. Pass me. Yeah, okay. Okay. And second place. Okay. I didn't drive great that race, but not bad either. Let's see. Let me try to find that debate. No, that's the Shark 300, based by the way, video about it. I must have, like... Where? Dang it. I don't know if you linked this or if it was somebody else. The debate panel where Blair White got really ganged up on by her right-wing comrades. Here, hold on. Let's go, panel, maybe? No, that's not it. Dang it. I can't find it now. Where was it? Let's see, content suggestions. No, that wasn't it. Oh, here we go. I think this is it. Ah! I have to... I have to devote my attention to the race now. No. Okay, I'll come back to that in a minute, but I think I found the video, and I will, review it starting, next race, probably. Or, like, between this race and next. How did I miss that trick? That's kind of wild. What? How am I in first all of a sudden? I don't get it. Ow. Oh, poor Daisy. Poor bastard. Whoa, that guy's on the spear? What a G. What? How did that happen? I swear I wasn't touching that explosion. Alright. That's a really cool use of the half pipe. I wish there were a couple more tracks that did that. You know, like the Rainbow Road half pipe. I thought there was a shortcut that I could do behind that rock, but I guess not. Just learned on the toilet some guy proposed making an EU army because of the Russian-Ukrainian war. I feel like that's kind of redundant, right? Like, NATO already exists. Like, there's not a one-to-one overlap, but I feel like NATO is supposed to be, like, the military equivalent of EU, because they're both kind of like the Western Bloc. The difference is just that, like, the EU is the economic bloc, and then NATO is the military bloc. I guess that could be useful for some form of consolidation or like better coordination, but I don't know if it would be entirely necessary. You fool! I was just waiting for him to throw those red shells away. No! I got wheelie bumped. Oh, smart banana. It's not gonna do anything for me. Just realize this map is such a W. Yeah, you know, it's interesting. This track got picked last time and I was commenting on it. I didn't expect it to be as cool and interesting as it is.
I don't...
Okay, this video is real short, so I could probably get away with reviewing it just right quick. Here, let me open this in actually a new window. So I can then go into here, React Andy, properties. There we go. Okay. And show. Perfect. Easy, easy. Okay. Random.
I don't really
Let's
know
start.
how much you know about me.
So, okay, I want to lay out some context so people aren't going into this completely blind. This video right here that we're gonna see is I guess a debate panel with a bunch of conservatives. I see Carolyn Borisenko, who has said in the past, who said that the Jews wanted the Holocaust to happen or something like that, that Hitler would go to heaven or something. Very, very insane takes. And then we've got John Doyle, who did a video where he tried to debunk the whole, like, love is love, we support queer people sign. He's just a Nazi. And then Blair White, who is a trans woman, the only trans woman of prominence on the right, who frequently gets blown out because she is trans, and I guess, you know, she did the whole, like, the left are the real transphobic ones bit, but that kind of went away. Like, she hasn't been as active recently because the right has consolidated around the whole anti-trans bit. And then we have, who is this? Lauren Witzk, who I don't know very much about, but I assume she also is a Nazi. Because, let's be real, if she's running with this circle with Carolyn Borisenko and John Doyle, both of whom are Nazis, as in, like, pro-Hitler and anti-Jewish, then there's a strong likelihood that she is a Nazi as well. Yeah, fun night party indeed. I guess when I have, maybe when I'm on a straightaway or something, I could have the opportunity to get this going. No, one red shell? That's lame.
I don't
There we
really
go.
know how much you know about me, but I'm probably the most vocal anti-children transitioning person on the internet. It's what I'm.
Right.
It's well, I let you speak.
Oh,
The
we're
best
already
thing you can do
starting
for
off.
us Is grow out your mustache and tell people not to live like you.
Whoa!
I think it's really funny that she's quoting scripture as a liberal, thinking that she can use it against us as Christians. You know, it's like, oh, it doesn't apply to me, but maybe it'll work on you. And guess what?
Okay,
it doesn't
this-
work. Playing on our Christian compassion and making us be tolerant and accepting of all.
Okay. A lot to unpack already. It has not even been barely 30 seconds. So, it's kind of what I expected, but it was like right out the gate. Yeah, these people just hate trans people, and Blair White, I think more than anything, is naive for thinking that people like this would ever accept her in a million years. And I guess that cements it for me that, yeah, okay, Lauren Witzk is also a Nazi. I've literally never heard anybody other than Nazis talk about trans people this way. You know, pretty blatant stuff. And then she's now, I think, going in on Carolyn Borisenko, who, despite being a Nazi, aestheticizes herself as though she is a liberal. You can see she's got the woke haircut, and she has glasses, which means that she's a liberal, I guess. And, you know, Lauren Witzk is ranting about Christian compassion, which is laughable because all of these people ideologically agree with the Holocaust. Except for probably Blair White. Blair White, funnily enough, for how abhorrent Blair White's views are, she might be the person I am most inclined to be charitable towards on this panel, because her biggest sin in this circle is being naive to think that these people would ever view her as a human being. And of course, I'm actually, like, I'm treating her probably as more of a human than any of these guys ever would, and I don't intend that as some sort of moral virtue as on my part. That's just how horrible these people are. Like, it is not hard to look at Blair White and acknowledge that she is a woman. But you see Lauren Witzke like made some fucking wisecrack about growing a mustache and like, I don't know, being a man. That's all that occupies these people's brains.
All this diversity, you know what that's left us with? Transgender pedophiles on Twitter saying that your daughter asked for it, your little girl isn't actually a princess, she asked for it when I abused her. That is where.
What is Blood Waffling about? Also, epic choice of music. That's definitely gonna get me content ID'd or something. I'll try to keep going in small spurts.
Where we're at. So you're throwing.
Please stop with the music, honestly.
Scripture at me as a liberal
How long does this go for? How long does she talk?
is not, cannot play the Christian game. We are taking a stand for social conservatism. It doesn't matter. So
I think this is just her proselytizing. I think, okay, this is Lauren Witzke proselytizing for several minutes, probably, which I do not support. Don't proselytize, kids. Religion is cringe, and being a missionary is even more cringe.
social issues matter. And
Dude, fucking Carolyn Borisenko and John Doyle, I saw, are like actually trying to say something, and she just keeps going. How is this the whole video? It's the whole video.
using God's word is absolutely subversive, and that's what it's all Blair White.
Okay, wait. She did at the very end. She was like, and this is all Blair White. So she's saying some shit about like the ungodly sin of being trans, I guess, and that you are so mired with vice, and I, the white woman, am morally virtuous for being the Aryan race or whatever, and I will be very submissive and breedable for my future husband. That's probably what she's talking about, because, you know, all politics is sex. And this woman definitely had sex on the brain, because she heard trans person, and the first place her mind went was abusing little girls, which is, like, probably even more sus than like, any other combination of things that could have been said on this panel. So, like, bravo for, I guess, ascending past my expectations, or rather descending past them into hell, which is where all of these people belong. When I have a minute, I will try to unpause again. All right.
Murders. You know,
Damn it. Okay.
how many kids saw Blair White, you know, giving one of her videos? You know, I know Trump is a
How many kids saw Blair White? I don't think Blair White markets her videos to kids. I think that's talking down to hell. Yeah, that's where these people all belong. Of course, hell isn't real or anything, but, like, Christ, man. Serves you right. Slaw? I don't know.
cash cow. I know people love to talk about him and their popularity, but how many children saw her and looked at her and said, you know what, she looks really good. I could do that too, and started transitioning.
Damn! You know what? That's actually a great point. For my side of the political spectrum, she actually, what Lauren Witzke brought up as some sort of dunk is that maybe there would be some kids somewhere that would look at Blair White and think, wow, she's really pretty. I want to look like her, or I want to be like her, or something. Granted, Blair White is the worst role model among all trans people to probably say this about, bar, like, I don't know, a couple other extremely niche examples I could think of. But yeah, actually, I think that's good. If a kid sees a trans person online who's doing content creation, and that causes them to think about what they want from themselves, yeah, that's good. If that leads somebody to discover they're trans, then that makes the world better, not worse. Because otherwise, the alternative to that is that they would continue being in that, like, forced heteronormativity, and they would never know, and they would just be miserable. Like, we know that people have very strong feelings of dysphoria when they're they don't identify with the sex they were assigned at birth. You know, there's a lot of research out there to confirm this, that like it causes serious mental health problems. In fact, mental health problems that these people were joking about earlier, and that they joke about on the regular. So yeah, actually, it would be great if there was a young kid that saw somebody like Blair White, maybe not Blair White herself, and said, wow, she's really pretty, I want to be like her. And then that leads them to transition later. Great. That would make them happy, and that's good. And that's good if they are happy.
And looked at her and said, you know what, she looks really good. I could do that too, and started transitioning. This is about the children.
Also, the fact that she is bringing up as an own that somebody might take a positive lesson from Blair White and identify her as a positive role model, as something aspirational, speaks incredibly big volumes to what this woman and people on the right in general value as virtues in people, in children, in young boys and girls or whatever. It's not happiness. People on the right don't care about happiness. That's why they look at trans people and they scoff in disgust. They don't want children to be happy because they don't view children as people. They view them as objects to be controlled. And if a kid transitions, that is a deviation from heteronormativity. That is one axis along which it is much harder for parents to control their children as you would property. So, you know, I mean, like, for all of my academic language here, this is just her being a cartoon villain and being like, when children are happy, that's bad and contrary to the wishes of God. Like, I almost don't even need to argue against it. Pay no mind to the fact that I spent, like, 10 full minutes or more arguing against it.
They are coming for our kids, and we are at a point now where we're going to have to take a stand. Will the party go the way of the LGBTQ? Will the party...
That actually confirms what I was saying earlier. They are coming for our kids, as if there's some unified front. Like, no, you're, like, you know who's responsible for the change in your kid's life, ultimately? Your kid. Because they are a person who has moral agency, and who is, like, capable of making certain decisions. A lot of people forget, and this is what I mean when I say that conservatives don't think kids are people. Kids are just smaller humans, you know, capable of some of the decision making right from the outset that larger adult humans are capable of. Obviously, there are some topics that are very complicated and that kids are, like, ill-informed about, and that's, like, what the process of bringing kids up is all about, is to try to make them into informed adults so they can make their decisions on their own later, so they need help throughout childhood. But ultimately, you know, 5-year-old me is still me in the sense that I'm a human being with thoughts, feelings, and, like, a brain. I'm not like a chunk of meat that belongs to my parents, you know? That was very close to hitting that red shell. How am I in first after all this? I don't understand.
You know, we already have a
okay, I'm not. That's the answer.
Man,
that's
woman,
the answer.
I don't know. In California, running the Federation for Republican Women. You know, are we going to let them stand, or are we going to choose to stay with the nuclear family and support the nuclear family? Because from what I've seen from these LGBTQ activists, such as Richard Brunel, who's an absolute pervert, he refuses to stand up for transgenders in the military, against transgenders in the military.
I don't know what she's waffling about here.
And make a public statement that...
This is the sake of this definition of Canada. Fun fact 3. According to new research from some big brains from London, your mind is done with growing at the age of 30 instead of the previous 20 to 25. Yeah, there isn't really that line, that line of when is your mind done growing. That's incredibly hard to draw. And in fact, from what we understand of how the brain forms connections, you're never done growing and learning, right? That happens throughout your whole life, up until the point that you die. You are capable of and still are learning new things. Your brain is making new connections and exercising existing ones. It's like, I don't know, there's like a logarithmic curve, but yeah, like even if you want to say like where you get very close to that top point there, you know, it keeps being later and later than we think it is. So, you know, we're kind of left to identify the point where it's safest to say, okay, now you're capable of more or less engaging with the world on your own and like doing certain things associated with adulthood, getting a job, you know, drinking, having a sex life, or whatever, because we trust that you're now responsible enough to do those things without outside help necessarily. And for most countries, that age is 18. There are some countries where it's a bit lower, some countries where it's a bit higher, I think. But 18 seems to be a pretty good spot to set that age of majority. And of course the implication of this tangent, and what I'm trying to get at by, you know, talking about the psychology of like a developing human brain or whatever, is that these people are all invoking these arguments disingenuously. They don't actually care about whether or not their argument is correct. For them, trans people being bad and degenerate is an a priori value. You know, if you were to take one of their seemingly more scientifically minded arguments and disprove it, they wouldn't accept that they are wrong. They would simply move to another argument, if that makes sense. Because no amount of data or information about how people grow and change over the course of their lives, how, you know, kids are actually people, none of that will convince them because they don't care. Okay. I wish they didn't have the music in this video. That would be nice for purposes of me. Oh, jeez. I clicked off the window by accident, so I'm gonna have to probably wait till the end of the race to keep watching, but oh well. Also, this is one of the things that make conservatives borderline anti-debatable, or like undebatable, is because they'll go on crazy, like, borderline schizophrenic rants like this. You know, it's like they're just completely shadowboxing. They're talking about things that aren't there, like, oh, trans pedophiles coming after your kids. Like, does one person in the world exist like that? Sure, probably. I haven't seen any news about that. But does this exist as a real trend and a real problem affecting people on a real scale? No. Wapeach for Smash. Welcome to chat, or welcome back, I guess. This is says you are not a new chatter, so it's good to have you. Good to have you back. Let me resume this video here.
Hey, men
Content ID, please spare me for this music.
shouldn't be in women's bathrooms. That's because they're bought.
Okay, obligatory bathroom talking point. The U.S. court system disagrees with conservatives on this, by the way. Multiple judges have ruled that, no, you do not have the right to trans-free bathrooms. Trans people can use the bathroom that they identify with, because it's the fucking bathroom.
Sold and paid for by these LGBT donors who have seen an opportunity. Trump was a cash cow. He was. You talk about him and you are,
Okay.
you know, had a different look or whatever. People would throw them.
She's gone on like 7 different tangents up to this point. I actually don't know what she's on about
Like,
now.
oh, look how inclusive we are, but we're sacrificing everything. And when it comes down to it, I choose the life, preserving the life of little children who are
Okay.
15% of them are growing up, identifying as LGBT.
Wait, what? What?
Little children who are 15% of them are
I don't know if she said 15 or 50.
growing up, identifying as LGBTQ.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. I recommended this back during the third 2-track no items KO. Oh, yeah. No, I didn't forget about it. In fact, what is this music, Bible Thumb? This is just the fucking, all around me are familiar faces. This is the music that's playing in this highlight reel, I guess. This very brief highlight reel of this woman saying some insane shit. I don't know, truth be told. But no, yeah, I wanted to do more debate review stuff in general. I just followed that person. And this was like the first thing on that list just to get me started, I guess. An insane conservative debate panel, you know, why not? And then I think I had something else lined up for like a debate review as well. Oh yeah, the statistic about 15% of kids identifying as some kind of queer, like on the queer spectrum, that is true to the best of my knowledge. It's a little bit like left-handedness, where being left-handed was extremely stigmatized, but then we decided to actually stop beating the shit out of kids who use their left hand in schools. And then it seemed like the amount of left-handed kids increased, but then capped off at about 10%, where it remains today, and likely has been throughout all of history. You know, similar thing with being queer. As for where trans people and transness fits into all that, I think something like charitably 1%. Like if I had to give it a nice round number, about 1% of people are trans. And that number can vary from country to country. Someone needs to put a stop to Jubilee as a whole because they're not helping. I 100% agree. Yeah, especially in an election year. You know, very not helpful stuff.
And transgender, and we should not be giving a spotlight to
El Bozo, the T in LGBT stands for transgender. You said the same thing twice. Debate lost instantly.
or a platform to people who operate in a lifestyle where 40% of them end up attempting suicide.
Okay, and there's the 40% number. Like I said, they don't actually care about this because earlier she was attacking Blair for being trans. The reason that that 40% number exists, which I think is attempted suicides among the trans community, the reason that number is that high is because of the lack of support for them being trans. Either they are in the closet and are being repressed actively, but identify themselves as trans when they feel it is safe to do so, or they are out of the closet, but this has resulted in a number of their social connections being cut off. The 40% number is her fault. Her and people like her. The existing, like, conservative side of politics, that like conservative social attitudes that are extremely alienating to trans people, that is why that the rates of attempted suicide are so high. And wouldn't you know it, when trans people have access to medical care, to social means of social transition, to psychological help, and to strong social support networks, they don't attempt suicide. Because wouldn't you fucking know it, that's the same thing that would make anybody not attempt suicide. It's just like them being trans elicits such a strong disgust response from conservatives in their lives that they deprive them of the reason to live. But like I said, I it's kind of a moot point because she doesn't care about this anyway. In fact, she likes that 40% number is as high as it is. And if I were to hazard a guess, she wishes that it could be higher because she has, at several points, either said directly or invoked arguments that imply that she simply views trans people as ontologically degenerate and not worthy of a place in, I guess, what she would call Western society. Oh, hey. Shock dodge. What is... I don't understand what that is all about. Okay. 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 This track is very confusing.
Suicide, eventually. 1 in 4 children growing up struggling with TQI gender dysphoria and death with depression, drug abuse.
Yeah, and the reason for such high rates of drug abuse and depression among kids with gender dysphoria is because highly dysphoric feelings that are unaddressed can lead to other bad things. It's like being mentally ill, like having certain mental afflictions can compound on themselves when they're not properly addressed. And conservatives want to prevent kids from having the means to properly address those mental afflictions as a means of killing off as many trans people as possible. Which sounds like very alarmist and hyperbolic, but it is true. That's why they constantly refer to the 40% number.
I think it's 80% of men have a higher risk of HIV. Why would I support that lifestyle?
Okay, obligatory HIV. Dude, you know what's actually really cool, though, about HIV is that it's basically like... There have been a lot of medical advancements in treatment of HIV to such an extent that it's no longer the crisis that it once was, which I think is a really big victory. Although, of course, somebody like Lauren Witzke is stuck in the 1980s when the anti-queer people had their heyday, when the government ordered the CDC to not do any research on HIV/AIDS. Pretty cringe. Oh my god, I got him! That was pretty cool. No, fucking penguin! Ah! Not driving great this race. Then again, it is a track that I don't know particularly well, so... Oh wait, this is actually a super cool concept. I can't believe I just now noticed that.
Or try to use
And then finally the moderator.
We haven't heard from Blair.
And the moderator steps in. Yeah, okay. Original rant. This video isn't available anymore. Awesome.
I don't really know how much you know.
Loving that track. Loving some Bowser themed chaotic tracks. Yeah, I think that was a like ice and fire themed track where like more and more of the ice melted as the track went on. That was pretty cool. I liked it. Yeah, anyways, bog standard insane stuff from this conservative debate panel. I wasn't sure if he was even alive. Yeah, true. Sometimes you get debates and moderators like that. Yeah, so there's what do I even take away from that? That was 3 minutes of Nazi schizo posting. Don't do that. Don't be like that. Do not associate with people like that because they hate you. They hate everyone. They hate themselves. They do not like the concept of human happiness, as evidenced by the fact that she kept bringing up kids as though they were some sort of property to be zealously protected from interference from like, I don't know, degenerates who would also treat them as property. Like the... Yeah, conservatism is just brain rot, basically, is what I'm getting from that debate panel, and should probably be everyone's takeaway from that debate panel. Because, while I think John Doyle and Lauren Witzke, to my knowledge, are not very active anymore, or, like, I haven't seen as much from them, Blair White is still kind of out there, even though she's also not as active. And these are the people she's associating with, and she paints herself as like a more mainstream conservative who's like a maverick voice in the trans community and stuff, right? So like the window of how far right conservatives are has shifted way to the right recently as the trans panic has ramped up and stuff. Damn. Mad World Gary Jules? I don't know the reference, I'm sorry. Take care of that right now. Man, I got 3 red shells in a row, I think. No, I missed the item. Got a mushroom. This will actually be very helpful to me, because I kind of need it for this. Nice. That worked out better than I initially expected it would. Let's keep going, and then I don't know if I had another thing to mention. Dude, this Carter guy was in first? What a fucking legend, dude. Shoutouts to Music Dog. I got mad respect for people that use carts, especially in custom tracks. Jesus. That's like a tall order among other tall orders. You know? Like, that's hard. And I guess I'm getting... No! I was just gonna say, I guess I'm getting first on the fucking cool lava track. But, no. Got squished by a thwomp at the line. Keep on getting small pop out at the bottom of your screen. Telling me to buy a ladies' #1 bag. Women be shopping. Also, I think Twitch uses, like, algorithm-driven ads or whatever. I don't know why that's there. I'll be real. I use an ad block all the time. And there are no ads directly on my stream. Like, there's no ad breaks and whatever, so... I don't know what Twitch is on. Maybe they think, they are trying to trans you. That's obviously what's happening there. I don't fucking know, dude. Just check my pants to be sure about the ads. I'm good. Yeah. Hey, man, look. What's in your pants has no bearing on whether you're a man or a woman. I'm not a transmedicalist. I go by the self-ID model. Besides, there are plenty of trans women out there that will just regularly post pictures of their dick online. Do not ask me how I know this. You already know the answer. Yeah, I think this will be the last race of the stream. I also wanted to go over the map hat video about social media and social isolation and whatever. I'll keep it locked in my secrets vault. Very true. The best place to keep information locked up that you don't want prying eyes to see. I'm obviously, you know, not going to have the time this stream, but on Friday I'll be back to, like, the regular schedule and stuff. I can look at that map hat video about social media, and I actually have some stuff to say about social media that I don't know if Matt Pat touches upon in that video. Some unique thoughts of mine, so it should be good. Should be a good video coverage stream. In fact, on that note, I did also see that Matt Pat is retiring. Like he said, he's going to be leaving game theory and film theory and stuff later this year. Once he can get things like properly wrapped up, make sure that things will be running smoothly on that channel once he's gone. And, you know, even though I hadn't, yeah, March 6th, and I think he said there was also, like, there were a couple things that he was going to continue doing until later this summer. But, you know, ultimately the gist of it is, like, he's by the end of this year, for sure, like, he's done, and no more YouTube, career stuff. And I respect that. That's a difficult decision to make, to like, retire from a job like that. Especially when the channel was, like, his brainchild, and he's done, he did a lot of that stuff back in the day. But look, you know, the world keeps going on, and there's ultimately still going to be game theory and film theory. It's just not going to be MatPat anymore. It doesn't affect me directly that much, because I haven't watched a lot of his stuff in quite a while. But, you know, a lot of people watch that. And, a lot of people are going to miss him, rightly so. I don't know. There's not that much for me to comment on there. Just, you know, you will be missed, and, we'll try to, either keep enjoying game theory or like, find other stuff to enjoy. Because that's how the internet goes. Ow. Where did that red shell go? What? No, he took my box. That was a really quick shock after that other one. Dang. No, I can't get an item. Oh, jeez. Hello, classic dragster. Coming through. Dude, that shortcut saves so much time. Fourth. Okay. Whew. +2! Very well-deserved +2 for how I raced that that race. Alright. Well, I did 2 back-to-back streams. One yesterday, one today. 9.4 million views already. That's a lot for modern YouTube. Quite essential and to be fair. Quite sentimental and to be fair. 13 years of such achievements ain't nothing. Yeah, that's right. Now, 4 of his closer staff that we've already seen in some videos will take over the channels. And to save them from stress and time, it'll be split even. Each one person gets one channel. Yeah, I think that's as good a way as any to transition out of being at game theory, film theory, you know, wherever else MatPat had his YouTube channels and stuff. But with that, that was another short stream today. I'll be back on Friday. I'll be doing a regular length stream, 2 hours. It should be a much better time frame for me to, like, guess be the new MatPat, to be more clear on that. True. He's gonna split himself into 4 pieces, and each piece will be contained in one MatPat Infinity Stone, and each person gets one of those Infinity Stones. Yeah. I'll be back on Friday. Unsure what we've got planned on the weekend. That's okay. Look, nobody in my chat should feel as though they're under any obligation to, like, catch the streams live or watch my content, whatever. Look, this is purely a voluntary venture. And keep in mind that all my streams will be uploaded after the fact to YouTube. The videos themselves are unlisted, but the playlist is publicly available on my channel. It's just the big stream archives playlist, and I have the most recent ones first. If you want to check anything out there that you missed, you know, feel free. And as far as that video goes, besides mods, 24/7 ready. True. For the video, the MatPat video, I think I'm gonna make a segment on that. That seems like good segment material to comment on, because, you know, social media is as relevant a topic as it's ever been. Time to watch the MC compilation? Sure. I mean, you were there for most of those videos, so. Anyway, Let's raid Cody Schwab. Nice. He's playing some Super Smash Bros. Melee with Zane. All right, you goobers. I'll see you on Friday.